Hey, so I've been really sick the last couple of days, but I wanted to get this out quickly because a lot of people have been asking for it. I'm only going to cover the one build that I run at the moment, and I run this in all types of PvP purely because a lot of the time I'm either with a group, but also this is a very solid solo build versus multiple people, and it allows you to get in and get damage off and escape even against outnumbered um, people. So it's a really solid build in general. Just to run over the active skills really quickly, I take dodge roll. There's a no-brainer on this one. If you do dodge roll a fury attack, it gets you into stealth. But the main reason we take this is it counts as a mobility skill, and using this coincides with Shadow Walker and allows us to proc that extra evasion. And this is how we're going to get up to those numbers of around 1800, 1900 evasion with my build. In terms of the active skills, I take Fatal Stigma, Touch of Despair, Enchanting Time, Swift Healing for myself and my group, Karmic Haze, Curse Nightmare. I take Curse Explosion, Shadow Strike, Blessed Barrier, Invincible Wall, Stealth, and Decaying Touch. This is also an AoE if you remove the skill specialization. For passive skills, Assassin's Instincts purely for the additional crit. It's literally free crit, so there's no point in not doing it. Assassin's Step, this procs off assists as well as kills. Any of your group kills around you will also proc this, so it helps with mana regen, but the main thing we take it for is the movement speed. It facilitates getting in and out of fights a lot quicker. Shadow Walker, no brainer, this is your mobility evasion. So you dodge roll, and although Shadow Step or Shadow Strike is a little bit finicky with this, it does technically proc it, and it should proc it. It's just not consistent with 100% uptime at the moment, but this does allow you to get that extra evasion. Take Assassination Stance from Dagger as well. Because of the level of evasion I'm running at the moment, this gets insane value and allows for stealth to be used a lot more. Nothing more to it than that. I do need to max this though. The last one from Dagger is Wrathful Edge. Increase critical damage percent by 16.2%. Once you get that maxed, it does go up to 18%. Again, this is just extra damage on crit. We do crit a surprisingly large amount, although I will do a video that explains how dots work because they probably don't work like you think they do. And I want to get that covered off and help to kind of clarify some misconceptions around dots, crits, and heavy attack. We've got Saint's Oath. This skill saves you a lot more than you think it does because it stacks up to 5 times. When you're in a CC and you're taking skill damage or you're taking flash wave damage, this is stacking and it will almost always be at 5 stacks once you're in PvP. This equates to the same as the bonus healing almost of Blessed Barrier. In fact, I think once maxed it becomes better than Blessed Barrier in terms of self healing, and this allows for you to top yourself up off CC or where you've been taking damage and use a lot less mana on healing. It's great as well when you're in a CC because your Amato is going to be healing a lot more, and also your potions are going to be a lot more effective. Devotion and Emptiness, no brainer during the day. 36% extra healing and 10% cooldown reduction. You should have this skill maxed and you want to be taking it. And again at night time as well, skill damage over time increased and curse cooldown. Fantastic passive and one that you definitely need. And then Wraith's Beckon, again, this is another one that you want to take because of our curses scaling off the duration that they run for, and Curse Explosion doing damage based off the remaining duration. You want your curses to be active for as long as humanly possible, and in the game, this is what's going to be doing that for you. Wraith's Beckon should definitely be maxed, and at max, it's going to add another 3.3 seconds. Going on to Weapon Mastery for Wand. We go down to Time of the Curse for the extra 1 second, and then we max out the top row. This gives us base damage on 2 nodes that we really want for the increases to our curse damage. This is going to again scale into the damage we do with Curse Explosion, and we go all the way down to Greedy Need for the cooldown reduction on those skills. The middle tree has heavy attack at the end, but I think if you're not a healer or a dedicated healer, this is kind of an int to go down this tree. It just doesn't offer as much as the other two combined. For Dagger, in PvP, I'll go down as far as Master of Evasion on the top tree, and then from there I'll switch down to the bottom tree, and again I'll max this out. For PvE, I take the bottom tree and the middle tree, purely for the extra damage. So there's nothing special there on the Masteries. Okay, and on to skill specializations. We'll start with Dagger. So Shadow Strike takes increased range. This allows me to engage from further, but also to escape further. I often use Shadow Strike as an escape. Camouflage, I take the CC immunity for 3 seconds. There's a couple of cool tricks that you can do with this, but this is definitely the minimum on Camouflage. You can take cooldown reduction if you want, or duration increase, but my buff duration is good enough at the moment that my stealth already lasts for 14 seconds, so I don't feel the need to take either of those. For Fatal Stigma, I currently take everything because I use Fatal Stigma as one of the main things in my build for supplementing my AoE. So turning it into an AoE, cooldown reset. This is something that I substitute in and out depending on how I feel. The main reason for this is it gives you the reset if that target dies before it pops, which is great for allowing you to use it on more targets more often. And it's really good because for the duration that the skill is active on a single target, it reduces the healing received for 3 seconds. So it takes 3 seconds or so for it to pop, and those 3 seconds you're going to reduce healing. So it's good for usage on a priority target to reduce the healing. I often do that to annoy the enemy shot callers if we're called to focus them at any point. The skill distance increased by 4.8 times. This brings Fatal Stigma up to a 13.6 meter or after buffs, because it is impacted by other skill buffs. It's going to allow you to get it similar range to Touch of Despair, which allows you to put them both up from range. And then additional to this is the damage proportionate to lost health. Because of the way that the combo works, this will be popping after you front load your damage, which means that having this increases the damage at the end, and it's a great little bonus on top of that being an AoE. Wand is where all the magic happens, so Touch of Despair, I take the chance for it to hit additional targets. I love this for just fishing for dots up on people in the downtime between combos. The effect duration, again, this is going to scale with Curse Explosion, so you want to take this to increase that by 3 seconds. And then the 50% chance to apply 2 stacks, because we don't currently have a lot of space and time to cast it multiple times. Getting this to proc can mean that you do get a 3 stack on somebody to spread before you explode, and it's just really solid to take. Curse Explosion, just the damage boost. That's the only thing you really want to take on this. There is an argument for the dots persisting on the target. This would reduce your burst but allow you to have a lot more consistent spread pressure. This I think we'll see a lot more play once we get the Sacred set in tier 2 and also Tevant wands. Tevant's a curse that we're really going to want to keep up a lot of the time if we get a really good spread on it. So I think Dark Explosion is going to be a big go-to in future. Taking it as a single target is just not an option for PvP really. Decay and Touch, I take this because it scales into additional damage. It increases the damage that the dot does, and it can be spread with Karmic. So you can take Corrupted Magic Circle if you want. This I will often switch to if we're in a lot of fights where I can't get good engages and I just want to fish for damage, and I'll take it with Rotten Swamp. It lets me throw it out onto the floor, hold choke points with it, and it's a really good way of getting curses up in chokes. The additional damage is just a burst of damage on a single target. It doesn't actually increase the damage on the dot itself, it just does a burst of damage, so it's not really worth taking. Swift Healing, taking consecutive use is a no-brainer on this one. You're going to be wanting it to top yourself up, top your group up. And again, for healing transfer, it's a really good way of healing yourself for splash damage while picking up party members. So these two are really good. Cursed Nightmare, deactivated if attacked twice. We really want this on Curse. It lets the sleep sit for a little bit longer and buy you a bit more time to either get out of the engage after you've spread the sleep or to get your explosion off when you're playing solo. And Enhanced Nightmare for the instant sleep. This is a pretty big one. It allows you to get the sleep CC off on groups of people almost seamlessly, and we're very starved for time on engages because we're focused quite heavily, so having this is a no-brainer as well. Enchanting Time, this gives you 220 skill boost when it's maxed, or 200 for my skill level, for 9 seconds, but with 53% skill boost with my build, what you'll see is it gives it you for 20 seconds and it has a cooldown of 16.2 seconds. This means that the buff can be up 100% of the time, and it's just a maintenance thing to keep this active on yourself if you're using it for your own damage, or to keep it active on one of the DPS in your party. But what it also lets you do is get an interesting overlap where you can have this on two people for a short period of time. If you do find that you're using it in that way and you're buffing other people, then taking the effect duration of 3 seconds is great because it allows you to get an overlap where you can have it up on both people for about 6-7 seconds, which is a really good way of increasing the damage overall as a group that you can put out. The Karmic Haze, range increased. This is a no-brainer. You really want to take this. It's allow your sleep to spread a lot further. Unlucky Cloak is something you're only really using PvE. You could, I guess, if you were running solo, look to do this to really amp that Curse Explosion damage. If you can get your dots up and then extend them by the duration of this and then pop them, it's great. But for mass PvP, you want range increase, and the additional damage is similar to on Decay and Touch. It's just an outright burst of single target damage, so it's not worth taking. Blessed Barrier, Blessed Barrier we keep as it is for the defensive reasons. This is something that we want defensively on ourselves or on our group members, either to top them quickly or to help during those engages. So nothing special on skill specialization, but those are the ones that I'm running, and we'll go into a couple of combos real quickly and then I'll show you some gameplay. Okay, so combo wise, the main thing that we want to do is always keep up our enchanting time. We want this for our self buff. You want to play at your max range as much as you can until you get your engage off. Now, the simplest way is to literally get a dot off, sleep, karmic the sleep, and stealth away. If you can get that off from a flank or ahead of your group, this is going to be great for just setting up for your main ball engage. But realistically, this is the bare minimum that you should be able to do on the build. My engage tends to look like, though, in terms of damage, is I'll fish for a curse. Ideally, I'll want to get one curse up on somebody, if not more. Again, if I can get another curse up, I want enchanting time up, and then I'm going to step, sleep, do this, and spread my curses. Then I pop Fatal Stigma before exploding, and then look to get out. The reality is that if you use stealth as an escape, you're very rarely going to get that off. So instead, you're probably going to be looking at stealthing in rather than getting the combo off and then stealthing out. Obviously, throughout this whole process, you want to be looking to keep your dodge roll up. So if you can, you want to get enchanting time, self-shield yourself, and then dodge roll before you go into your engage. And that's going to give you that little safety net to get back out once you've got that initial setup. And if you can get the damage off, then it's great. But this build really is an all-in play style. A lot of the time you won't be able to get in and out so easily. Now, if you'll remember, I said that on stealth, we take the CC immunity for 3 seconds. This is going to allow us to do a pretty safe and secure engage that almost guarantees that we get this off. So if we can get a dot on the outside, we will, but this isn't a big deal. What we're going to do is shadow step immediately into stealth, sleep, curses, karmic, fatal stigma, and you'll notice that all of that was done within the 3-second stealth window. So you can't be CC'd during this period. It's going to allow you to get all of that damage and all of that setup off while being CC immune. This is a huge all-in that you can get off. And then if you're able to manage to proc 2 curses on your first cast, there is enough time for you to delay the engage to get in and get another curse off to get it stacked to 3. And if you can get it stacked to 3, which I'll show you in a second, then you'll be able to get off what is effectively our highest amount of damage. So here we go. I'll show you what the ideal kind of engage will look like. So we're fishing for curses on the outside. We don't want to engage. We're looking to get it to at least 2 stacks. If it gets to 3, that's perfect. We've got our self buff up. We're going to shield, stealth in, get our sleep, curses, fatal stigma up, AoE, get out, normally with Blessed Barrier up, and heal yourself. And that's ideally what you want to be able to do as a full combo. So those are kind of the main combos that I do, but obviously there is a lot of kind of variation that you can do in terms of playing from range. You can look to fish for just damage, where you can get your curses up and you can look to spread them, get stigma up and just do damage without the sleep. The only problem with this is it's going to drop your karmic and prevent you from being able to do sleep bombs. But this is good if you're just fighting stragglers and you just want to get some damage off on people. Then we're able to consistently get decent amounts of damage and pop people really easily. We do a substantial amount of damage provided we're given the space to do things. But where possible, you want to be looking to get that full sleep combo off so that you can do as much damage as possible. So where you can get curses up on multiple people before an engage happens, in an ideal world you want to be doing that. The curses do last for a while, so you can look at spreading curses around. And then when you're ready to go in and you've got yourself buff up, you can shield, stealth in. Oh, messed the combo up, did it the wrong way around, but you get the idea. Really simple, really straightforward. The complexity in this build comes from getting the combos off under pressure. You're going to find that you need to get creative with your angles, and people are going to start to feud you, and you're going to get picked off a lot sooner than you'd expect. So using that CC immunity on camouflage is going to be a huge game-changing thing for you, and understanding how that works. But also don't be afraid to fish for CCs or hard CCs from people by getting just into range to pop dots, rolling out in case you hit one of those fury attacks and get into stealth. And then again, you're looking to get that engaged when you're ready to do it. And you're looking for people that are clumped up as much as possible. Now, players do tend to move forwards and then backwards into the safety of their group. So if somebody's pushing up and you can get a dot on them and wait for them to go back. So, for example, the target dummy moves up and you get a dot on him. You see that he's moving back into the rest of the group. That's when you look to go for the full hard commit on damage and pop everybody off. Or pop a sleep bomb and get the group to follow up, and just be vocal that that's what you're doing and call that out as you go. Any questions, drop it in the comment section. I'll answer where I can. Sorry, this video is a bit of a ranty one and quite long-winded, but I wanted to explain my gameplay and the builds that I use.